I am Kenji of the Serpent clan, and my ancestor broke the world. The Horde was destroying everything in its path, so he gathered the clan and fled south, saving what little he could. He didn't know that the Horde would be only the first of many enemies to plague the Serpent clan. He couldn't know that without the orb's power to guide them, his descendants would be weak and wicked. Did he ever truly have a choice?
Run! Shinja's men are coming!
You're no villager. Kill your share of peasants and I'll find you a place in Shinja's band. Yeah!
Hello and welcome to another Let's Play Battle Realms. This time I'm doing the campaign. I am Patch, so I'm just going to read this text scroll real quickly. I hadn't yet decided what I would do once I had returned, but circumstances had conspired to force a choice upon me. Should I protect these helpless villagers by attacking the bandits, or should I help the bandits keep these peasants in their place? No doubt my actions here will dictate the future of the land. Now I'm going to jump into this in just a moment, but first I'm going to have to turn the sound down because it's always too loud, and I think we're going to have to suffer through the tutorial.
Left-click me to select
there
me.
There it is. Sound always gets inexplicably loud. I try and set it lower, but
after I am
back.
Selected, right-click on the ground and I will move. Alternatively, right-click on an enemy and I will attack. Left-click something else if you want to deselect me.
So right now I'm just doing the first level. It's not really a tutorial even, all it is just killing some bandits. This was back in the day, 2001, where they didn't really have in-depth tutorials that explained how to play. Just, you know, very simple, hands-on, get into it type gameplay. So right now I am playing as Kenji. He is the main character. He is the hero. The reason I am attacking the bandits and not the peasants is because I want to play as the Dragon for the first run, because they're the good guys. I don't know if I'd say they're the heroes, but they're the good guys. Because the Serpents are really the heroes. They're just better. So right now it's just a matter of cleaning up the enemies, making sure they don't destroy every house, or making sure Kenji doesn't die. He can die on this level, which is pretty poor if you let that happen, but if he gets into red, you just sort of pull him away. It can happen if you get ganged up on, but I think I've covered it there. I think I've killed every bandit. Every peasant's dead, but the houses are still alive, and that's what matters. What's going on with the texture there? Is it... yeah, I think it's normal. So now just back to cinematic.
Kenji, we thought you were dead.
It's been a long time, Otomo.
I've waited 7 years to serve you, Lord Oja.
Don't call me that.
Murderer!
He saved our lives.
He killed his own father! Look! It's Kenji!
He doesn't speak for the village. The Serpent's son will take tea in my house.
The bandits work for Shinja?
He rules the provinces to the north, and would rule this one too if he could. He seeks to rebuild the clan, but his methods are questionable.
Shinja served my father loyally for years.
He's tasted power, and won't give it up easily. But Shinja only rules because no one else will stand against the other clans. Wolf and Lotus are tearing what's left of your father's empire apart.
I'm going to need Shinja.
Then you'll have to beat him. Shinja rules 2 provinces from an old Serpent fort here, while his hired archers haunt the eastern road, stealing what little remains. Break Shinja's forces, and he'll lose his will to fight. We have no soldiers, but the villagers stand ready to serve. What shall we do?
So this is the map screen of the campaign. After a couple of levels sometimes, you get to choose where you want to go next. I can choose to take on Shinja's fort, or take him in the forest. I'm going to go for his fort, just because I have a preference for that one. That's where the main choices come in, but I'll get to that in a moment.
This province is already claimed. Go before I kill you!
Otoma was right. Shinja intends to put up a fight. If I destroy this keep and confront him, he should listen to reason. I am the heir to the Serpent Empire after all. My clan lacks leadership though, and will certainly crumble if I were to die. So Kenji doesn't have a lot of faith in his faction right now. Probably because Otoma spent the last 7 years hiding with some peasants, while Shinja got to take over to the north, and the other clans took even more. Basically in this, there was the Serpent clan. Kenji's father was killed, presumably by Kenji, and then it all sort of fell apart. And now Shinja rules a little bit, but he's not a great leader, and Otomo's even worse. So, yeah, I don't really hold Otoma in a high regard. He's an okay unit, don't get me wrong, he's a good fighter. But in terms of the game, he sort of doesn't really... he's a little sad.
Right.
He kind of hasn't done anything for a start. He's just sat there for 7 years.
I'm going.
He could have been trying to fight Shinja, but no, he's kind of depressing like that. It's like, Otoma, come on, you've got to do something. But he didn't. So that's Otoma there, and I've got Kenji. And so as you can see, I'm now orange instead of blue, because that is the Dragon Clan's color, and the Serpent Clan is red.
Yes, sir.
Don't know why. I guess it just looks thematically nice. The colors do suit. So, if you're not familiar with the gameplay, I'll actually run through it. I'd recommend checking out my other videos if you haven't seen them yet, because I do explain a lot of the stuff in them. But right now, I'm just collecting resources with my peasants. Peasants are your main workers. They collect resources, build buildings. You can collect rice and water. Rice patches disappear when you harvest them, but they grow back slowly over time, or you can water them to make them grow back faster. And that's what a lot of this game is about, little interactions like that. You can put water on the rice to make it grow faster, you can put water on your buildings to put them out when they're on fire. Trees block vision, trees can get knocked down or destroyed.
Yes, sir. If
the battle, if things just happen to go that way. It all just depends on what happens to play out at the time. So right now I'm just building a bunch of spearmen for just defensive, or well, eventually offensive purposes. Obviously I'm going to need an army if I want to win. This is a pretty simple level, and the reason I chose it instead of the other one is because if you choose the other level first, you come back and your opponent is slightly stronger in this area, and them being stronger in this area is somewhat of a threat. It's a little bit tough, personally, like, just because you don't have a lot available to you at the time. You don't have much to combat them, so... But yeah, it's okay. It's no big deal. I always thought when you were going through the campaign that you'd eventually come back to here, because they've got all this area over here where you could build and up there, but you never actually do. Actually looks a little similar to a later level, but that's no big deal. But yeah, it's just a little bit weird, because you've got all this, you could build there because there's water and rice all there, and the enemy's base is there, and there's some rice there, and horses, but no, just nothing really comes of it. It's just there for show. That's okay. Right now I'm just building up this army to, just because I know there's an attack that eventually comes from the left, and I'm going to be ready for that. I actually already recorded this once, and I was like, oh, I know there's an attack coming, but I'm going to go out and attack anyway. and then they showed up and butchered my peasants while I was away. Not that that's a big loss. As you'll find out throughout the game, and if you've seen my other videos, the ones about each individual team, losing all your peasants isn't that big of a loss, because peasants produce faster based off how little soldiers you have. Like if you have less unit count, peasants produce faster. So if all your peasants die, oh no, you know, you'll need to get new ones, but
yes, sir.
They come in fast supply. Additionally, resources, when you've got a lot of resources stocked up and the enemy's attacking, sometimes it's a good idea just to grab everything and send it into a building. So yeah, that's the next main sort of trick with this game, the next cool part. One of the reasons I really like it is you take your peasant and you send them into a dojo, an archer range, or an alchemist hut, and out that comes a unit. So your peasant sort of trains up into that field, and so a peasant that goes into the dojo becomes a spearman, and a peasant that goes into an archer range becomes an archer, goes into the chemist hut, they become a chemist, and so on and so forth. But it doesn't just stop there. If you then send a spearman into an archer range, or an archer into a dojo, they become a dragon warrior, which is a new unit entirely. And obviously, since there's 3 buildings that this interacts with, you can get up to 7 units per team just from that little interaction. And that's really cool on its own. And there are a couple other units also in each team, but that's just the main function. And it's also, like, the highest up unit isn't always the strongest. I'm just waiting for this attack, it should be coming soon. The highest up unit isn't always the strongest, because a higher up unit might have a weaker damage type, or it might have a different function.
Over there.
There are some units which are actually almost inferior in some ways. So yeah, it's really just, you got to figure out what you want. Because spearmen are a very good type, a very good soldier. They've got a decent amount of health, and they've got a piercing attack type. Not that you can actually tell without going into, without looking into the data of the game. But they do have a piercing attack type.
I follow
and
the
that
dragon.
means they're good against a lot of things. Not many things are resistant to piercing. It means they're pretty consistent at whatever they're fighting. I like how they've nearly a spear formation there. That's pretty cool. So yeah, spearmen are really good, whereas this cutting or slashing type, I forget which one it's called, that Kenji and Otomo have, isn't as good. It's alright, but there are more things are resistant to it. So spearmen are really good in that respect, and so sometimes having spearmen is better than having dragon warriors, because dragon warriors also have a slashing type.
Done.
It all just depends on what you want and come up against. What else is there to really tell? There is one other thing worth note at this time, is you can gather yang, or yin if you're an evil team, by fighting. And that you can use to buy heroes or upgrades, and in this case, yes, upgrades like the Dragon's Heart and Dragon's Strength, which both improve your spearmen and make them even that little bit better. I'm wondering when this attack's coming. It's taking its time. Could have sworn they attacked by this time last time, so I'm going to go looking for it. And what are the odds that they attack down the front? That'd just show me, wouldn't it? I'm just going to go prowling in there. As you can see, each unit can have up to 1 ability. You can get these abilities from upgrade buildings, or heroes come with one. So in Kenji's case, it's critical strike, whereas next attack does bonus damage. And for Otomo, it's give a damage boost to nearby allies. Abilities almost always cost stamina.
Over there.
And for some, that's a big deal. Like Garen, he takes heaps of stamina to use his ability. Yeah, I guess the enemy's not coming. I'm gonna go. Oh no, there they are. So they snuck out behind me because I couldn't see them through the trees. That's actually pretty clever, right? Also, if you didn't see it on the minimap, a little bird appeared down there, and that's to indicate that someone is walking through trees. It's like, hey, look, there's a thing there because the birds are disturbed, you know? And so it's little cool things like that. Yeah, I just lost both my peasants, so I'm just gonna put that there. Anyway, I've got a big enough army, I should just be able to win.
On it.
I'm just gonna idle him there. When units get low on health, they walk slower. Whoa, another attack.
Charge!
Guess they really wanted it. So a spearman beats a swordsman in a straight fight, and an archer beats a crossbow in a straight fight. They are essentially the equivalents of each team of the Serpent and Dragon clan.
For the dragon!
Okay, now it should be safe to leave.
Agreed.
As you can see, I've now got 2 yang. that's just from battling. I was rewarded with it, so I'm gonna get this upgrade, which gives Spearmen more damage. Yeah, as you can see, I'm not too worried about resources or anything right now. I'm just gonna leave this guy there because he's injured. Yeah. So units that get red health walk slower.
I move.
Which, you know, obviously isn't very good at all. I'm just gonna wait for a time to get closer and... You need them to stand around idle for a moment to heal. Because they do heal naturally.
Yes, sir.
There are also healers in each team, but it's mostly the, yeah, the healers are actually a big deal. Oh, is he gonna die? Yep, there he goes. This is unfortunate. Anyway, I'm gonna get this other upgrade since I've got a moment to get more health for my spearmen. Oh, ouch, dead. Here you can see a tower. Towers are actually a big deal. A tower can house a unit, any unit. Towers usually come with one ability, and they also give extra range and seeing distance for whatever unit is inside them.
I'm off.
So towers are just great for that, you know, great defensive structures. The dragon towers can stun temporarily, and things like that. So that's what, you know, the towers just bring. That's a dragon warrior right there that you just got to see for a moment. Unfortunately, he was mobbed by 4 spearmen. Just gonna have this guy idle for a moment while these guys come back and fight.
Attack! Crush them!
Everyone, come on, move over. If you build up too much yank, it doesn't do anything. You just got to deal with that fact, but you know, not much more. So yeah, you do get healers. Each team gets a healer except for the wolf. You just have something else, which is pretty much as good. Yeah, this level's not too hard. If you just build up a decent army, just push through. There's just a few buildings. You really only need to target Shinji's keep, which isn't all that hard to take down. I think it's actually weak for a keep. I think it's about as tough as one of these, and I think keeps are normally meant to be stronger than that.
There.
I'm not sure. Maybe I'm wrong. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, so I'm just going to clean this up, and then I'm going to march on for Shinji's base. As you can see, you can't actually fully surround it with units, so they're just going to have to stand by. Just watch these guys have all the fun. Yeah, this is a really nice level. I really don't know why you don't come back to it with the horses and the places you can go. But I guess it was just meant to be like, oh hey, look at all the potential this game has, which is cool in its own way. It does certainly give you a proper feel for it. It also gives you a proper feel for large open areas that you might actually expect from this kind of rough period of game time era. I don't know what era you'd call it. Obviously, it's based off Japan. It's very flavoursome in that respect. Like
Over there.
You got your spearmen who'd be your yari, wielding a yari or whatever. I can't remember much about Japan to be honest, but yeah. So
Agreed.
And then you get your samurai and you get ronin, and then you get all these sort of weird other things. Like you get dark, mystical people and savage wild tribes, and you get all. It's really cool. There's actually a decent army here. So I'm gonna give this boost here. What you really want in a fight like this is to immediately rush the crossbows because they're the biggest threat. Because they have a ranged piercing attack, and they attack pretty quickly. And that's a bandit there, that's the equivalent of a dragon warrior from Serpent. So yeah, now that's all basically taken care of.
On the way!
Yeah, so that's all basically, the level's basically over now, it's just a matter of cleaning up. I really don't need to do this, I can just walk over here, there's Shinji's keep, it's like right there, and I can just destroy it, but I'm just going to clean this up, just so I don't have peasants constantly trying to rush over and punch me. And also it's more satisfying to do complete total destruction. So, yeah, this is Battle Realms. A lot of the choices in this game you might not realize on your first run, but it is a very replayable game in that respect. For a start, you can play the campaign, either as the Serpent or the Dragon, which makes it different who your ultimate enemy is, be it the Serpent or the Wolf, which we'll get to later. Or, you can also pick ninjas, monks. You can pick a different couple of heroes to join you, things like that. The You don't get to notice it now, but it becomes important later on.
Done.
And that can have an influence in the game. Like, it's not a huge influence, you can always consistently win if you're a good player, but it does impact the game to some degree, and it makes it cool, you know, just a little bit replayable and fun.
Face your master! To the death!
So yeah, normally, if you play this one second, if you do the forest area first, and you come to this one, they have horses. And the horses have a trampling sort of ability, like it rears up and kicks around it, and that can be very dangerous, and it can really clear out your army. And they've got a few of them, so you rush in, and then immediately half your army gets smashed to pieces. And that's why I like to do this one first, so that I don't have to face those horses. Because you don't get horses at the time, you don't get that option in the stables. It's really kind of unfair, but, you know, that's the way the game plays, I guess. Yeah, so I just prefer to do this on first. It makes the first couple of levels a little bit easier, a little bit cleaner. I do have another run that's ahead of this one, that is just sort of make sure I don't screw up,
For the clan.
and make sure I know what choices I'm actually making before I get into them. I've noticed at one point there's at least like 4 choices maybe, for the supporting hero you get. In that run I got a hero called Guyla from the Wolf Clan. I'm just going to have to cut myself off here, and let it go to the cinematic part.
Shinja.
Rally to me! After him!
My favorite part of that is how you can see there's only 2 units on the minimap rallying.
What shall we do?
I have business with Shinja.
Shinja has always had a talent for escape, but we've cornered him now. That snake doesn't have anywhere else to run. If we defeat him in battle, I can surely sway him to our cause. I must survive wit to enlist his aid. So I'm actually going to pause it there and save the game, and I'll continue this run in another video. I hope you enjoyed it so far, and I hope you follow along for the future videos.